I'm Don Cooper, the CEO and founder of Innovator, and today's session is part of a series that we're offering on above ground storage tank repairs. And today we are talking about the forge bonding repair method.
This is a crude oil tank. It was in Louisiana. This is a previous attempt before we showed up on the job site or before they even heard about our company. Self-tapping screws with some crude form of gasketing underneath. This is actually under a rolling ladder, EFR, and you can see where they cut the rolling ladder away so they could get to this heavily corroded area. And remember, I was telling you about we like polymers to go down before the gasket. This is an excellent example of pitting and corrosion where a gasket would have trouble sealing over it. In fact, it would not seal over it. So we apply an epoxy, trowel it on, and then drop the gasket on it while it's still wet. This customer landed the roof. It was leaking so well. This plate eventually leaked so bad. Well, they made a second attempt. Let me show you that here. They glued this large box down with epoxy, 6 foot by 15 feet long, over that entire corroded area. They put an angle iron down and then some, as you can see, bolts that held the aluminum plates over the top. So they basically made a box out of it. And it still kept leaking. The epoxy didn't hold up, and I guess it's a flexible roof with a rigid body on it, which I mentioned earlier is not a good combination. They put a vacuum pump on it, still kept leaking. And they were out of service for several months. This tank roof is landed, okay? There's a vapor space about a foot below the roof, and there's crude oil under that roof. So they had a barge sitting offshore waiting to unload its cargo. This thing's 274 foot in diameter, I believe. And they can't take the cargo out of the barge. So they're paying the demurrage charge while it sits there. They heard about us. The word of mouth got around and they found out about us. 11 days later, we had them up and running after 2 to 3 months of struggling with this roof. The first several days were they had vacuum trucks pulling vapors out from under this roof to make it safe to work on. It was a really pretty crazy what went on for this job, but this was the largest plate we had put down to date. We've actually installed larger plates for one of a very large oil company, larger plates than this. But this was the largest for quite a few years. I think it's 3 foot by 8 foot. There were also a number of other corroded areas and leaking areas that we put smaller patches over. You can see a few of them here. Here's the remnants of that box they glued down the angle iron. You can still see that in view.